One of the best shooting guards of his era, Clyde the Clyde Drexler, was known for his smooth play and athleticism. Portland's all-time leader in scoring and steals, he reached the NBA Finals 3 times, winning a championship with Houston in 1995.
Clyde the Glide, and look out below. Mercy nurse.
Clyde was incredible. You just weren't used to seeing guys with that size have that kind of quickness and handle back then. It's commonplace today, but back then that was not the norm. And boy, his comfort with being 6'7" and being able to handle the ball and shoot it and play make and all those things, it was a sight to see.
A facial served up by Clyde Drexler.
The thing that made Clyde so special was, his athleticism was off the charts. And, I remember watching him in college when they had the great team Phi Slamma Jamma, and he came into the NBA dunking, but when you go back and you look at some of his college dunks, you're like, whoa.
First time I'm on the break with Clyde Drexler, and he used to dribble with his head down, and I'm running the lane real hard. I didn't realize he saw me, and he threw a nice hard pass, and my hands couldn't get up quick enough and hit me in the head. And I was like, oh. He was like, going back down the court, Clyde was the guy, didn't say too much on the basketball court. He just led by example, and he whispered to me, stay ready, I see you. You don't think I see you, I see you. So from that day on, when I ran, I kept my eyes on Clyde Drexler all the time.
You never lose that image in your head of Clyde taking off from the free throw line over Andre Turner of Memphis State and just dunking that thing. You're like, oh my God, did he jump from the three-point line? Is someone really that athletic? And then watching Clyde in his early days in Portland, you were like, Clyde was must-see TV.
Loved the game of basketball and was very unselfish. And Clyde doesn't get enough credit for his unselfishness. He could have chucked the ball up a lot, and he didn't. He gave the ball to his teammates. He trusted his teammates. He allowed Terry Porter to actually be a point guard, and I thought enhanced Terry Porter's name and his ability to be seen. But Clyde could have just dominated that team at that particular point in time, like, say, Michael Jordan was dominating the Bulls statistically, like Dominique was dominating Atlanta. Clyde Drexler could have done the same thing, but he decided not to, and it made him an all-around player and a great teammate.
The NBA's had plenty of great nicknames over its history. I don't know that any one of them fits a player better than Clyde the Glide, because there was such an athletic grace about him.
He was just smooth, man. Clyde played the game hard and efficient, but he was so cool the way he played and so smooth, and he made the game seem effortless. And when you watch him, man, everything was just done with ease, but he was a great player. He was a lethal scorer. And at the time, the only Achilles heel Clyde Drexler had, that he played in the same era as Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Because during that era, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler would have been known as the best two-guard in the East or Western Conference, hands down.
Well, how did he stack up during that era when you're playing against him in terms of how you're scouting him, where he is on the whiteboard before the game?
I remember talking to John Lucas one time, and Lucas told me that, we was talking about Clyde Drexler and that he's really right-hand dominant. And John Lucas said, but it doesn't matter. If you're so good and everyone know you're going that way and they still can't stop it, what does that say about him? And more importantly, what does it say about you? Clyde Drexler was just one of those guys to where when he made up his mind where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do, that was no stopping him. First, he was a great athlete. Second, he played the game hard. And then the way they played in Portland, out in transition with that crowd, with him, Jerome Kersey, and Terry Porter, man, it was must-see TV. But they were one of the most talented teams in the NBA during that era.
Well, the image you see behind you really sums up who Clyde Drexler was as a player. Airborne and smooth. That's why he's the Glide.
And I remember playing against Clyde in the NBA Finals. And I'll never forget, I'm backpedaling, and he's coming down on the break, and I decide to stop and I'm gonna take a charge. And the only thing I saw was his knees like tucking in the air and him jumping over me and dunking it. Dumars took it out of bounds, and I asked him, I said, did he just jump over my head? And Dumars goes, yeah, and Dumars and I are coming up the court, and we're talking to each other about the play that Clyde just made, in terms of jumping over my head. And I'm sure everybody else thought that we were talking about, something that was happening, that play that we were getting run around. But, we were definitely talking about, what we had just saw Clyde do. So, again, with his athleticism, his toughness, it was very difficult to play against him or guard him or to stop him. You just tried to contain him.